Who pays the bills for the county crime lab? The answer depends on where you are in the state. I'm Jill Horner. This is Comcast Newsmakers. With me is Pennsylvania State Representative Frank Farry. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about crime lab fees, because there are crime labs throughout the Commonwealth. There are 4, but the way in which these are funded varies based on state law. Explain to us how this works.
Sure. There's actually 4 county crime labs. There's Allegheny, Philadelphia, Cumberland, and Bucks. And then there's also a state police crime lab. And under the existing state law, Allegheny and Philadelphia's county crime labs are actually able to charge a fee to those convicted of the crimes. So if Philly Police Department comes in with some blood work and they need it run, or there's some sort of toxicology test, the crime lab can do that work. And then when the person pleads guilty or is convicted of the crime, they're charged a proportionate fee for the work that was done. But under the existing law, only first and second class counties, which is Allegheny and Philadelphia, can actually charge those fees. So you have other counties, such as Bucks, that built their own crime lab, and right now they aren't able to charge essentially those expenses back on those convicted of the crime. So what the legislation would actually do is allow the counties to actually charge the appropriate crime lab fee, and it's just part of the court costs. When the person pleads guilty or is found guilty, it's just added on to part of the court costs. But right now the county taxpayers are actually the ones that are footing the bill. And but for people committing the crimes, you wouldn't need the crime lab. So really, it actually places the expenses at the feet of those that committed the crime. So
this would actually be applicable to currently 2 counties in the Commonwealth, but you say moving forward there's the potential that other counties could develop their own crime labs.
Sure, yeah. What the legislation does is it allows any county crime lab, regardless of the size of the county, the class of the county, if they build their own crime lab, they're able to charge the appropriate fees. So it kind of takes what is an antiquated law and actually broadens it to kind of meet our modern times. And it's actually a taxpayer-friendly law, because right now the taxpayers are paying for it.
Now, for the actual fees, you had mentioned it would only be those convicted or those who are pleading guilty to crimes who would be charged these lab fees. If you are exonerated, you would not be paying these fees.
If you're found innocent, you wouldn't be charged the fees, just like you're not charged any sort of court costs, because obviously it's been found that you were not guilty of that crime.
How could this actually encourage sharing of resources over county lines?
Sure. What it actually allows us to do is say Montgomery County or Bucks County's neighbor actually needs say a rush on some certain testing. They would actually be able to send it over to Bucks. Bucks could do the testing for them. And then if the person's convicted in Montgomery County would actually have the power to attach Bucks County's fees onto that conviction. So it actually will help with the prosecution of cases. And we worked with the state police crime lab so as not to negatively impact them as well. So if they do part of the testing and Bucks does the other portion of the testing, those proportionate levels are all tapped onto the crime lab fee, and the respective crime lab gets that money back.
And let's talk about the money, because at this point, Bucks County, for example, one of the 2 counties that this piece of legislation would impact, they cannot charge back the money to individuals convicted of crimes at this point. What could this potentially mean in terms of money coming back to the crime lab?
Right, the estimates for Bucks County are between $150,000 and $300,000 a year. So that's a very significant number. So we're talking about a big difference in terms of the county crime lab budget.
And you have reintroduced this piece of legislation. Where does it stand now?
It's being reintroduced as we speak. Hopefully we can get some committee movement on in the next month or 2. It did pass the House unanimously last session and passed the Senate Judiciary Committee, and just there wasn't any action on the Senate. But hopefully we can have this law in the next few months.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
We've been talking with Pennsylvania State Representative Frank Farry. I'm Jill Horner.